Here's some advice from an 84-year-old elder and world traveler. I've been on every continent but one, and I fly 1 or 2 times a year between California and South America. I'm an experienced international traveler. I'm here to give you some very important travel advice. Beware of traveling internationally with Air Canada. A year ago, I flew from Dublin to California on Air Canada with a plane change in Toronto. It was a great flight, and transiting through Toronto was, as advertised, seamless. So when I bought an Air Canada ticket for my elderly Argentine wife, Laura, to fly round trip between Buenos Aires and California, no red flag was raised for me when the airline routed her through their Toronto hub for a 2-hour stop on her return to Buenos Aires. It was clear from my 4th grade geography, flying northeast to go to a southeast destination didn't make a lot of sense unless you are an airline passenger and the airline wants to save money by sending you through their hub. That's exactly what they were doing, but hey, what else is new? In buying the ticket, as per usual, I searched for the shortest, least expensive flight from San Francisco to Buenos Aires. The ticket I bought also included a stop in Chile, but since Laura was flying internationally anyway on an international airline, and the flight would include 4 countries, one could easily assume that simply changing planes in the Air Canada terminal in Toronto would be routine and not involve a visa to enter Canada. Or certainly, if a visa were required because the airline, to save money, sends a passenger through their Toronto hub, the airline would make damn sure the passenger was aware of the requirement. And if they did make it clear, why then would any sane person go through the hassle of obtaining a Canadian visa for a 2-hour Toronto terminal visit when other flights were available? I would certainly not have opted for the Air Canada side trip to Toronto if I knew a visa was required for Laura, but my experience with the airline's seamless Toronto connection in the previous year had presented me with no problems, so I didn't anticipate any problems this year. Besides, and very importantly, the international ticket that began and ended in Buenos Aires, the one Laura downloaded and printed in Buenos Aires, said nothing about a Canadian visa requirement. Look at the tickets. No mention of a visa requirement. So after a month-long visit to California, Laura and I appeared at the San Francisco Air Canada ticket counter, only to be told that since Laura didn't have a Canadian visa, she can't board the flight to Buenos Aires. This was the first we heard about a visa. We were devastated. Not only were we told she can't board the flight, but there wasn't an iota of sympathy or effort by the Air Canada agents to help us in any way. They should have arranged for a different route that didn't include Toronto, but no, it was take your luggage and hit the road. We're finished with you. 1 second we were Air Canada passengers, the next we were discarded like yesterday's trash. Why would Air Canada route an Argentine citizen from San Francisco to Argentina through Toronto without making it crystal clear that a visa would be required for the 2-hour transit in Toronto's Air Canada terminal? We are 2 retired senior citizens, me, an ancient 84-year-old. We were not prepared for a 4-hour, stressful internet telephone marathon at San Francisco Airport to deal with Air Canada agents, Travelocity agents in Manila and United Airlines agents in the U.S. to solve our problem and get Laura safely to Buenos Aires. Travelocity, like Air Canada, wouldn't help us find a new flight either and said we needed to cancel our flight and purchase new tickets on another airline. And then they gave us more bad news. By canceling our flight, for which we paid Air Canada $535, we had to pay Air Canada a $300 penalty. Pay a penalty to the airline that treated us like trash. Fortunately, the information desk at SFO allowed us to use their telephone for a couple of hours to try to untangle the mess, then found us a United flight to Buenos Aires through Houston. The kindness of strangers. We called United and they booked this last-minute flight for $1,234 or $700 more than the Air Canada $535 ticket. So to summarize, we paid Air Canada $300 in penalties. We paid United Airlines $1,234 for the last-minute flight. We also paid a $30 parking fee for the 4 hours we spent hassling. The following page on the Air Canada website makes it clear that Laura would be in the same terminal in Toronto and, to quote them, would not have to wait in a Canadian customs line. Just a quick passport check and you'll be on your way. On another page, we are invited to experience seamless travel by connecting through Toronto when you travel to and from the U.S. to an international destination. We relied on these promises, and we were totally screwed by Air Canada. Let me be very clear. If you are considering an international trip with Air Canada, beware. We especially direct this message to senior citizens and members of AARP in the U.S. and CARP in Canada. Elder citizens, you make up a large percentage of international travelers, and you take a great risk if your travel plans include Air Canada. Beware.